So, I have a 3D printer and space technology design. If you're unaware and uninitiated, that would be amazing if we could make it. We could make big, good, ginormous beluga whales in space. Do you see the bad boys up there? They can hold so many people. Anyway, sorry I had to laugh at that. That's a good meme for me. Those things, it always makes me laugh that way. Alright. And others, I'm sure it makes them laugh out there. Hey, shout out, comment in the frickin' sections below. There's just the one. But comment. Wow, this is really good. I got a drill. I drilled little half steps between the plate on my grinder. It's the Timemore Chestnut C2. And so now I'm at 9.5 versus 10. You know what I mean? And it's a huge difference. It is muy bueno, muy bueno. The Italian style muy bueno. I also have these 3 washers in there to increase spring pressure or spring, force. And it's like, oh yeah, no, that makes it a little less wobbly. That makes it a little less, it's more consistent. And then it's like, oh yes, it's slightly, a half step, finer grind. And it's a world of difference, I've got to admit. Just wanted to talk about this because, why not? It's chocolatey caramel. It's a Kick-Ass, I think, or Donkey or something like that's the brand. Personally, I wanted to go get the Guatemala coffee that I bought a while back. It was like 3-pound bag, and I used my popcorn maker to turn it into 20 to 25 gram chunk sizes, little, and then I'd let it rest on the windowsill. It was cool, the air going over it. It was just very cold. It was, winter, so, it's pretty cold. Anyways, it was very caramelly and chocolatey as well, but better than this. And this is old stale coffee. So moving on. 3D printer in space. Folks, Folkerino, McFolky, folk people. We've got to talk about this. It's like, how would you do that? Well, I'm going to give you the basic concept, okay? And then I'm going to fill you in. It'll be really swiggity swoo. All right, cool. It'll be sweet-o, Awesome. That's basically what it means. It's the new version. It's the cool version. It's like swiggity. It's cool. It's hip. You gotta know. Alright, so 3D printers, we already know, really cool. They're nice, neat, whatever, right? But you know what they don't know about the vacuum of space? It's really shitty. It has a lot of particles around. There's this fucking stuff that's not space that we don't fucking breathe in. Oh, great. Yay, thanks, man. Real radioactive, hot and cold. It's a real kerfuffle fuck to the senses, you know what I'm saying? So, you can vacuum weld in space. And a lot of people know about that, but the reason why is because there's a charged particle field and electromagnetic field, and there ain't much there, really, when you think about it. Very much. And so while you can vacuum weld in space, it's mostly because there's a couple of phenomenons going on to help it. Otherwise, you'd do it all the time. Here, you'd go get a vacuum, you'd stick 2 things together, and you just negatively and positively charge them, and boom! What do you know? It's what? Welded. Holy baloney. That's Mind-blowing. They can do it on Earth. You usually have to score the surface mighty fine. A few microns deep or something, with the lasers and the so ons and so forth. But, you could do that. Now, we have optical tweezers, if you're uninitiated. We have optical tweezers. They're the best. In space, I can pinch your tuchus all the way over there. So if we take these really small nano-sized particles, just a hunk in them out. Look at it's so fucking thick, man, this thing. But it has to be in a vacuum. How do they not weld immediately? Well, there's a trick to that one. Let me tell you. You stick them with something that it doesn't weld to. That's ferromagnetic. And put a charge through it. And what do you know? Oh my God, it didn't weld. What? Crazy thought. Then we go, my penis will penetrate you, space. You go into orbit. I couldn't quite make it. It's a lot of delta V I've got to have, and I don't have enough blue pills. I don't quite go that long. And so then we do this thing called open the fairing. They're still stuck together. In a small area, I have localized and decharged the magnetic field. I take out this optical tweezer. I push it on over to that spot. I go, if it could make a sound. I'm sure the thing that is full of all these nano-sized particles could probably make that sound. It probably hears and then it goes zap with the lasers. What do you know? A few clumps of nano-sized particles got together and decided to go, ho! Hi there, pilgrims! We're together now. Fancy looking at me getting together with my friend over here. Very similar to me. All right, now, let me get another one. What do you know? There's a spaceship in space? That's why they call it the space version of ships. Space Force! Why build it on the ground when we can build it in space? Mama! Now, granted, it's preliminary. This is the basic concept. Because it's like, well, why would you put charges in a magnetic field on a ferromagnetic material? Because steel is still ferromagnetic and aluminum is not. And so, it's about the mixture of the two. If you don't do it right, then clumps tend to be like, yeah, so you thought I wasn't going to weld. So you have to put a charge and a magnetic field in there. Like, yo, fuck off. I reject you. Between the two. And then the other one goes, I'm so in into you. And it goes, I would love to, dear, but there's something rejecting me in between us. I'm always trying to pull you closer while it pulls me away. Really? And pushes me. Where am I going with this? And it's like it maintains itself without sticking to itself, because it's not very magnetic. It doesn't, stick that hard. It doesn't also push quite so hard that it's able to push past the electromagnetics. So it clumps, but it doesn't quite clump together. So it's really about how you can do it. But see, the problem with that one is that mixture really doesn't quite work, So I have a different material that's called an insulator. And then it's like, how did you do that? And I'm like, carefully, with a lot of air and preparation beforehand. I go, and then I pour the two in. That way they mix well. I put the fields in ahead of time, just doing the... Well, I got the funnel as I try and pack it in. And it tries to align itself as best it can without it sticking so much. It's not working very well, but it's better than before. Where's this binded fucking insulative garbage crap? So, it's not just metals that cold weld when you have lasers in space. Especially when the heat can be the surface temperature of the sun with a laser, and we've got fucking the sun right there. And these solar panels, I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They exist, They tend to work way better when they're up there. Let me tell you. One side's really hot, the other side's super cold. And we just get a reflective, shiny material. Just radiative cooling that shit. And all of a sudden they perform adequately to make very nice, strong optical tweezers and lasers that can weld tiny nano-sized particles that are but a few millimeters at most between where it wants to weld them or tweeze them to. So, isn't really quite what that is. It's more of a... It's a real... So it happened! I swear it's there. I guarantee. Look at it. It's making more. It's... Not much strength in that, though. No, we're not looking for that. We're looking, for that part to be strong, not the laser. We can still make very powerful lasers, though. We could. I don't know if that would be necessary, but sure, because they still have a pushy push force when they're very powerfully powerful. So I need to make a double or a couple of heads. My first initial thought is like a double head, because that'll probably work out well enough. It's like, yeah, weld, bitch, on both sides, yeah, squeeze in between me with my optical lasers and kinetic, fucking, what is it called again? Confinement? Oh, right, confinement. Inertial confinement. Kinetic lasers. Which is just a fancy word of saying, I have very strong optical tweezers that push only one direction. And very, very hard with much great, incredible heat and force. It's inertial confinement. Kinetic lasers are something that are not real, is what I'm being told by dummy-dumbs that don't know about inertial confinement lasers, or the fact that all lasers will give you a push if they're powerful enough. So that's a thing you have to do. Sounds like you lost and I won that argument. Hip thrust like Colin Farooz. Hip thrust, baby. Hip thrusts. Or furs. I'm not really sure. Anyways, he's a YouTuber. You wouldn't know the guy, just like me. I don't know him. Unless you are him or you do know him. You probably don't, though. Anyways. You know the best way to test this is? Yo, what is that? Oh my goodness! Goodly goo! Is that a weather balloon that went up into space and did a head? A couple of D-sized rocket engines that went up at the right time and they got pretty much into space? It'll fall back down, it's okay, guys. But, you know, the initial ride was taken care of. That's the most of the energy you need to have done for you. I know. Why do you do that? I don't even have an income. Oh yeah, let me go pay for fucking helium. We just go brrr into some weather balloons I somehow have on some D-sized rocket engines and the correct calculators for orbital mechanic fucking delta V shit. Hey yo, space guys! Hey yo, FAA! What's up, man? How's it going? What you been up to? A hip thrust. Yeah, no, I know you. Yeah, back, snap, woo! Theta, beta, oh yeah! Got the handshake down and everything. That's what your sorority was! Woo! Yeah, chest bump! Yeah! Anyways, I'm just imagining that. I have no idea if that's true. It's their secret handshake that they do. We're cool, we do this. Anyways, I'm saying that this is a thing you could do because that's a thing you could do. If you listen to this, you could try. Right. Now moving on. You fire it up. You go, where's this laser Badoo? Oh my god, the Badoo laser. We should definitely call it that. Because if you ever get a Badoo, you know that Shaboopy is in order. Eventually you're gonna get there. It might be the night of the wedding or the after party. Some people might get that joke because that's a very similar word to certain words out there that means significant other, effectively. Now, we're going to move on to... Okay, so we got this thing. How do you get the laser head that's a double, inertial confinement optical tweezer welder heat laser? And I'm like, so here's a really cool factoid for you. Lasers, if you don't know, are just light that is being pushed through a lens and coherented in just the one direction with the same wavelength. And the way they do that, different types of ways they do that, means they get different kinds of lasers. And so if you make a head that has the ability for the tube inside of it and the lens to change like a camera lens, its focal point and its wavelength through the pulses and the lengthening or shortening of the shaft, respectively, which is the tweezer part. Well, you know. And then you go, oh, I have this thing called other fucking wavelengths of light that aren't the same wavelength. And I mix them together to get different types of wavelengths of light to do cool laser stuff. Like zap things to weld them, maybe. And there's this, what is that? A battery? Is that a fucking goddamn small, unfoldable, unfurlable, flat solar panel? Zip! Zip! Tweeze! Zip! Anyways, we're gonna call it there, but we're not quite fully done yet. If you don't know, there's this other thing called physics that's in the way of the whole like separation of these nanoparticles. Okay. Not so much the laser part. That's totally doable. I'm sure you could probably make your own. It wouldn't be impossible. Not to mention, it's like, that's ferromagnetic. Yeah, there's some copper wires in a circle with another smaller circle that's around the lens, and then one that's around the body of the lens, and then a couple smaller circles that are laid flat in a cool Audi-like pattern or Olympic bullshitty pattern around the body of the lens. That seems to change the electromagnetic field range and area, and you can hyper-specify and pick up something and move it over. And I don't need optical tweezers as much, so I don't need them as strong. So I can use magnets and optical tweezers together. And what is that? Is that an electrode? Missy! That magnet's fucking definitely your ground, and you're charging whatever it is that you're moving. So you have charge fields that can fucking be used. Is that a big old line wire that's over there into the atmosphere for your grounding potential? Or is that just for your battery? Let's see, which one do you want to use? Battery. Yeah, the battery, I figured. Probably. Fucking line wire. What are you kidding me? It's just a suggestion that you could do, though. It would work. I'm just letting you know, it would work. But, like, that's a huge drag, and that, no. Use the battery. It would work. It just doesn't work very well because the wire probably wouldn't stay on, and there's a whole thing. Anyways, moving on. We're going to move on to the fact that, yeah, that's right, we still have to separate this material that you want to use. And I'm like, technically no, technically yes. If it's a big old whoomp, spread out my wonderful people. My tiny little particle people of whatever element I happen to have. I was going to get to this, by the way. But it's like, you know that plastic can be welded with those lasers, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, I kind of skipped by that. And then I kind of moved on. And I'm coming back because I'm like, all right, by the way, caveat, asterisk, plastics and more can still be welded by the lasers. And they'll still be just as good. You know, they're in space though. So certain plastics are really, really good. Certain plastic, not so much. You know, it really depends on what we're trying to do here. But like, if you're putting it on the lining on the inside with a very thin sheet of like, hey, yo, electrostatically go over there, aluminum. Come on. Hip thrust it on over, you know, push it on over. Boom, boom, boom. You know, it's like that fucking SNL skit. Boom, 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 boom. With the fucking, you know, Will Ferrell and the dude. Just, yeah, Tina Fey, yeah, get it. This is the particle of aluminum, and then it goes, inertial confinement, go! One direction only. I don't know any of their songs, I'm so sorry. And he goes, I'm gonna attach myself, superstar, to my other plastic companions. I now have a sheet of plastic that there's aluminum on. That probably helps with porosity, layering it up as much as I can with the sauce, those fingies. You guys remember that? That was like 5 years ago now. That's insane, like crazy. It's 5 years. Shake your fingers with the sauce. Anyways, I'm old. So, moving forward. Then we have, what is that? Is that some steel? I still haven't gotten around the fact that it's like, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, cause like, particles, nano-sized particles, not hard to make, truthfully. In fact, it's way easier than trying to do like, I'm gonna break off little chunks of this shit and try and put it somewhere. No, you're not. Get out of here. Get out of here, you. Shoosh. Shoosh away. Go shoosh on over to there. Back in the atmosphere. You're not doing that. We could use a liquid. Yes, in space. So you have to keep it in a container that holds the pressure. That's a lot more expensive. And liquids are less dense than the nano-sized particles I can densify by getting rid of the freaking air in between them. That's a lot more stuff I can get out there. It's a lot smaller in size too, which makes it easier to get it into space in the first place. You know, that whole thing. Yeah. That whole, does it though? And I'm like, yes, it does. It changes the center of freaking mass, which means the center of gravity, which means it's easier to freaking get it into space. You big dummies. But liquids would be easy. No. Do you just like saying that you got hit on the head as a baby? But indirectly and like, not too that subtly, but subtly enough people wouldn't understand that that's what the case is. Because that's what it feels like. That's what I feel like you like saying. Oh! Anyways, moving on. He's like, why would the liquid not be good? We could use it for pressure shooty stuff because the liquid is now the gas around it and it will prevent it from welding. And it also changes the reflectivity parameters of the gaseous nebula that now exists in orbit in space around us. Ugh, I know. Who wants that? Ugh. I'm looking for something that's real simplified. I want a vacuum of space, which isn't that vacuumous, that is really easy to fire my laser as hard as I want. Shoop the whoop, right up into that fucking thing. With my boom, I'm the biggest fucking field out here. Except for you, Earth. Thank you. Thank you for containing me. It's so stupid. But then, nobody ever thinks about that. Electromagnetic fields inside of Earth, permanent magnets inside of Earth. They're like, I've got the strongest field. It's because of the magnetic flux strength is... So you play around with the bridge of their glasses so much. They get burns there. Meanwhile, me, I'm just letting you know that definitely will change the field downrange. When it's like that, because we're talking about long-range electromagnetic field and short-range, very powerful electromagnetic field that changes the way it bends. It's not much to you and I, although, how would you know? There's a bunch of friggin' random permanent magnets and everything else that we create. And they flip on and off every so often. Then you got, what is that, lightning over there? Why the hell is it connected over here to this fucking stupid piece of shit garbage electromagnet? How did that even happen? Are there more charged particles happening over there? How are these two connected? So these charge fields with the electrode and the grounding. And these lasers, in this nice, sweet, optical zappity-doo-dah laser apparati that happens to have electromagnetic fields that I can bounce in between each other like an electromagnetic repulsive tweezer. Or just use the one and keep it around if it's not very ferromagnetic, you know what I mean? Sorry, I meant it is ferromagnetic, just made of flub. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to move on to the fact that I don't really know how to separate the particles right now. Truthfully, if I'm being honest, because I'm like, I can make a container of love for you, girl. And I was like, nah, fuck this. I can vaporize some unnecessary need. And I was like, that's a plasma. I don't want to deal with plasmas. It's not a plasma, is what they're probably going to tell me. And I'm like, yeah, well, in the vacuum of fucking space it is. Remember, you have gas around you. That's an oxidization of fucking the elements. It's just oxygen that's really, really hot attached to these elements that you don't want. Now it's like, what is that? A really, really stupidly freaking hot, dense element? I don't want that. No, fuck off. I can't weld things to this. What are you doing? It's a static difference. Yeah, and no magnetic properties. What are you doing? I have optical tweezers. Yeah, okay, sure. Let me just on over to that one. Gunk, 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 gunk. Hey, why aren't you welding? Anyways, it would work. It's just an intensive amount of energy that I have to put into it, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It takes so long. I want it fast, snappy. I want it, I want it fast and good and hard. That's what I want. I don't want this slow shit. And so entered the particle accelerator on a chip. They have those, that's right. And when you have a little optical tweezing to increase the luminosity factor, to make a lensing effect, with electromagnets to really kind of force it home into an area, and electrodes and grounds, I can make a plasma cooling apparatus. This is how we do it. This is our last chance. Great success. Jonathan Coulton, everyone. Wonder of the world. I'm not sure which one. Is anything wonderful? Anyways. So, we're going to move on to the fact that that's right. We have particle accelerators. And I don't need them to be very fast at all. In fact, I just want them to go that way. Yeah, are you going to go my way? Yes, I'm forcing you to. That's right. Quite right. It's very rapey, those accelerators of particles. And what are you over there? A plate? Spray me with your particles! Okay, I will, honey. How many particles per freaking square centimeter of luminosity do you need? Meanwhile, me, I've got so many accelerators on this bad boy. Oh, yeah. It looks like Adam Savage when he made his paintball gun make a freaking... What is it? Oh, yeah, the Mona Lisa. That's what it was. I was going to say Picasso. Whatever the fuck jerkwad face that guy was. Whichever one. Some dude paints. I don't know. I'm sure he was very good. I'm sure of it. Everybody says he was. That's how that works. Call out to the society out there. No, he did that! Mel Gibson! Jello pudding pop guy, Bill Cosby? What is that, Jared? You bitch. They're great until they're not. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, moving on. We're going to move on into the fact that, like, oh, now we have particle accelerators. Where'd you get this sheet? The sheet's pretty easy to take with us. Yeah. Could unfurl itself. What is that, aluminum foil? And you just electrostatically charge it so it doesn't stick to itself in a vacuum? It would appear as though it was. I have 3 tweezing apparatus and a 1 shooty McShoot face. And then it has many of these accelerators also attached to it. It goes brrr, boom. This is what it sounds like, honestly. It has a fucking capacitor I have to charge because there's no way I'm sustaining that with a single battery or anything. to charge up my laser. I'm a Death Star your ass. Just give me 1 second. You think I won't? Tatooine! I think that's one of the ones they did. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I was just a guy that, like, you know, heard about it. I wasn't there. You know how rumors spread over time. Nobody gets them all right. They say it was this. It was Tatooine. They blew up Tatooine with the Death Star. Really? I thought it was something else. I heard like it was this one and that one and these things. There's some stupid vent that they shot it with some bending fucking right angle plasma bullshit because there's some mind kinetic telepathy crap. Telekinetic. Right, telekinetic stuff. Whatever the fuck. Jeez. God. They have that now? How come I don't have that? They could probably give that to everyone. We could travel through the entire galaxy. We can't give that to everyone? Just the chosen ones! Okay. You must practice very hard. Meanwhile, me. It sounds an awful lot like a bunch of charge fields and electromagnets and fucking viruses and bacteria and fungi that are connected somehow via your brain because you got an infection or some shit as a babe bee that then interpret what it is you want them to do over distance and time. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Yo, boom, 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 boom. This seems to be the right pulse to get that kind of effect. I will slowly learn how to control the bacteria. Midichlorians! The midichlorians! That's what it seems like. I don't know if that's what that guy was saying. Are there charge fields in this particle accelerator that seems to use lasers to try and coherent it, then turning it into a plasma that then goes so fucking hot, we're now like a laser? It seems to be in the 3D CGI matrix of the screen. Looking a lot more like a fucking particle soup than a laser, you know what I'm saying? It's fair, that could be the case. Anyways, to me, I go, and then I pointed all three at the face of the surface. To make the charge that I had built up to that point go off. And then, that's right, it did. It went off, and then like it stayed on the thing, because why wouldn't it? I can definitely just stick the laser thing to it, you know. That's my ground. That's my ground. It's my electrode. It's attached to the, you know, and so it's going to complete a circuit with my accelerated particles. And then I also have the, what's it called thing with the beam focusing field lenses. And it's like, how do you make the particles not stick together? And it's like, so if you don't know anything about particles, now we have a way to make a plasma work. So I can turn it into a vicious, crazy vaporization of a ginormous stuck together mass. And I don't need to maintain an electromagnetic or charge field. And that's the basic fucking design. I'm not even kidding. Like, I started off with the concept design over there, and I was like, all right, so now the design is a chunk of metal that I vaporize with lenses that I point over at the sun in some mirrors. I go, vaporize! Do it! And I go, with this funnel thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. And they go, yo, I'll tell you what I want. I really, really want you to fucking charge, you bitch-ass supercapacitor. Fucking do it faster. Hey, yo, plastic, stupid, dummy dumb. Yeah, why are you so bad at this? Fucking get better. You're doing as best you can, honestly. You know, I just want to fucking insult you because I'm angry. Thanks, solar panel. You're the best. This bad boy does so much charge, watts and so on. You know, I'm not gonna hit that one. Get these big old D-size fucking just a whole plate up there. Oh, these weather balloonies. These are big boys. Some big old weather balloons. The schmickeroons on this one. So many to get them here. It's a little expensive. Yeah, I'm a little, you know, not as much as NASA, but like, you know, when you think about it, it's pretty expensive stuff. Woohoo! Yay! Anyways, it went all the way up to space and we got it to the point where we can final frontier its ass. Really test it. You know what I'm saying? I see. That is fun. I missed a call. Oh, of course I did. I was doing this. I was not paying attention. Right. Why would they have called me? I'm not sure. Good question. I'll have to go call them back. Anyways, that's the basic premise. That's the basic space 3D laser design. I'm using the sun to help vaporize. I'm then using some charges to basically really help the vaporization of the chunk of whatever matter it is. And then I particle accelerate laser all this fucking lensing luminosity stuff to really onto like whatever plate. And then from there, if you got one, you can go from there. Because it's a little harder to do the, you know, from nano-sized particles, you know. It's a little more difficult. So when I have like a little bit of a starting point, it makes it a lot better you know, to do it from. And then it's like, yeah, I can start slowly growing that out. But it's from a plate. And I'm like, yeah, no, because I can effectively shoop-da-whoop some particles together off the ends, the edges of that plate. And it doesn't need to be very thick. And so like you can get pretty far with that if you do it the right way and you build it up like any 3D printer, little chunks at a time. Right. And so how does that work? And I'm like, because it then sticks together and welds there, and then it does it some more, and 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 some... And eventually, what do you know? It got further than it was. Like progress over time, perhaps. And it's now further and larger as a plate on one side than the other. Crazy thought, really. And when you have enough time to just let it do its job, you just got to feed it material, I think it's probably a better idea. Considering it'll just keep doing it. You're the one that has to program it, and since it's right there, yo, with the fucking fur and the boots and the whatnots, I'm programming yous up there in the spaces. Is it? Yes. Obviously. because it's got a boot to the plate, you know, and it's gonna be furry, because like you wouldn't get it. Point is, I could program it from the freaking bottom here on Earth where I can breathe and just shine a stupid, you know, directional antenna at it from time to time and just, yeah, no, what do you know? It works. It's doing the thing I want. That's good. It's building it the way I would like. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's just going to come back into the atmosphere because it's not in orbit. It just goes up higher. That old bad science trick. Just to test the prototype. Yeah, well, if I get even a small few microns of increase, I have proven it. I just have to make it better. And that's the correct way to think about it. Make it better, not worse. That's what you have to do. It might be a few microns at most. I mean, particle accelerator, I mean, you know, it's more of a stream, but then it's... Right. But then it's... To make it better. Exactly. That's why I'm like, you know, there's nothing saying because particle accelerators don't always need plasma. The plasma is just to start the process. I can always fire some nice charged particle of anything, really. It doesn't really matter what it is. And then does the gas help? No, the gas does not help. I can't use gas. That's the real problem. So you don't really have a way around that. No, I do. Technically. The best way to put it is I happen to have, for my only design right now that's really working, is just suspended in capacitor, you know, fields, like, you know, like the charge fields of capacitors. You know, like there's two electro, you know, plate, and then like, then it goes over, you know, that kind of thing. If I suspend, you know, in that field, some particles, you know, just doing their thing, I have the ability to like kind of do that, like a little capsule, and then it go and it fires it off. But it's not really that great because it's really just a capacitor. I shove some nanoparticles around, and then now that it's in space, then you know, it's simple, but it's not a lot, and that's a lot of extra shit for no reason. So I was like, nah, I don't really have anything, really, if I'm being honest. I mean, if I could literally just down the line layer it on Earth with nanoparticles, layer after layer after layer after layer after layer after layer, one after another after another after another after another, each and every single particle for the insulator, the non-ferromagnetic and ferromagnetic material, then it would work. It wouldn't be that hard to keep it together. In fact, if anything, it's going to stay together because it has a vacuum and the magnets and the charge fields, and so if anything, it will also hold a lot of electricity, which will help me fire my laser and shoot the particles onto the surface of it for a longer period of time, while I continue to hold them together with, you know, the sunlight as it is, charging up my solar panels and charging up the capacitor therein that's there. Right, because if you layer it correctly, then it's a capacitor that's suspending them, correct. And charge fields and electromagnetic fields, so, you know, field potentials. With insulators in between, yeah. Right. Granted, it's just a hell of a lot of work. Yeah. So it's like, how big can these particles be? I'm like, well, this is how big the particle accelerator is. And that's how big the nozzle is. And if you've ever tried to pee something that don't fit inside that nozzle, then you know it hurts and it don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Comprende, capisce? So, probably can't do that one. So, what are we doing next? I have to go get groceries and call people. Bye!